Alright, everyone, listen. I want all the money in the bag.
Sir, you need to make an account before you can make any withdrawals.
Oh, well, how do I make one of those?
Silly. ID, please. And we require a $50 deposit. Cash or credit.
Now, what Billy just showed you all here today is how not to rob a bank. Instead, let's take a look at a couple masterminds that are a little better at it than Billy over here. Let's turn the clocks back a few centuries to 1930, when the dynamic duo was born. That's right, I'm talking about Bonnie and Clyde. Like how most love stories start, with alcohol, these two were at a party, they saw each other and fell in love. They were so in love that, despite Clyde being arrested a few weeks after meeting each other for stealing a car, Bonnie would visit him quite frequently in jail. Being the scholar she is, she couldn't take seeing her man through a plexiglass window, so she brought him a handgun to break him out. Clyde was eventually found in Ohio pulling more of his shenanigans and was sent back down to Texas to serve 12 years. But just after 2 years of Clyde serving his 12-year sentence, he was put on parole. I wonder what Bonnie did for those 2 years, looking out the window, watching rain race down. The Barrow Gang was formed February 1932, after Clyde met up with his lady friend. This is where the gang held up gas stations, small stores, and, you guessed it, banks. And for some odd reason, the group decided to start killing people, but that's unconfirmed, don't worry about that. After a short while, Bonnie got a little ambitious and was caught trying to rob a store. I guess she never heard the term, teamwork makes the dream work. While she was in jail, she would write poetry to keep her mind busy through those hard times. But just after 2 months, she was reunited with Clyde, and they continued their little spree. I feel like they weren't really robbing the store for their money, they were just taking candy bars and shit because they were just in and out of jail frequently. Oh, how the times have changed. At this point in the gang, it was Bonnie and Clyde performing most of the dirty work, with a couple of the original members remaining. Now, most of the gang's robberies wouldn't turn bloody, but on April 30th, 1932, that would change. While the two were holding up a jeweler named John Butcher, John wasn't too keen on Bonnie and Clyde robbing his store, so Bonnie and Clyde just blew out his chest. John's wife was a witness at the whole altercation and identified Clyde as a culprit. This would come back around to bite them in the ass when Clyde and a fellow gang member, Raymond Hamilton, were driving and they were stopped by a sheriff. Without hesitation, the two gang members gunned the sheriff down in cold blood. Now, you would think this would open Clyde's eyes and realize the monster that he's become, but instead, this led the gang to commit more brutal acts against the officers for the next 2 years. Now, you're probably thinking, Duckut, why wouldn't a group that robs banks so often didn't keep a low profile? Well, my friend, the group noticed, and they did try to keep a low profile by renting out cabins in Missouri. The groups would cause a little bit of a ruckus and would cause law enforcement to go investigate the homes, leading to many shootouts. Often, while Bonnie and Clyde were running away from the cops, the gang would leave many things behind. This would include photos of Bonnie and Clyde and, you guessed it, Bonnie's poetry. There were a bunch of little incidences within the gang, but the downfall of the group was when Bonnie was crippled in a car wreck. She recovered miraculously with severe burns and lacerations. If you think it's the end of Bonnie's criminal career, it wasn't. She actually got into a shootout with the police officers, and while she was escaping, one of the other members of the team died. His wife, on the other hand, she was caught and she had to serve 6 years in prison. Talk about some tough love. Bonnie and Clyde noticed a thinning of their herd, so they went to go free one of their members stuck in prison, Hamilton. Bonnie and Clyde somehow got Hamilton released just by shooting into a group of officers? Oh my god, that's the people that killed Johnson. Quick, go get that guy Hamilton from the jail cell.
That'll be Sarge. We could just arrest them right now instead of letting them go.
Although the public saw these two for not being murderers and thieves, but a kind of romantic anti-hero couple. Even after the multiple murders over their career, what broke the camel's back was yet another shooting in Texas, shocker, which led to the death of 2 officers. On May 23rd, 1934, will mark the end of our dynamic duo, when a couple of officers caught wind of their whereabouts and then gunned them down on a freeway, leading to their death. There was said to be 150 rounds shot at the couple. Now, when I was doing my research on this, I remember what my creepy history teacher told us about police officers back in the day, telling us that back in 1930s, they would use a 6-shot Colt revolver, meaning that either they had 25 officers unload a full magazine into the couple, or there's a few officers and they just decided to reload and fire again. Bonnie's funeral had a close to 20,000 spectators on the day of her burial. I wonder why Clyde didn't have so many visitors, but that's neither here or there. In total, the couple made away with only $1,500, which is equivalent to $25,883.45. Well, I hope you learned something today. This was Duckut, and have a good day.